Hello everyone. So I received a question from Yulina who was asking me about some effective communication strategies to help FE and FI users get along. So thank you so much for asking that. If you have a question, I thought this was a really great question that I, as an FE user, I'm going to answer today and sort of share what I have discovered. Now, I'm not touting this as like a theoretical thing of like, this is the answer. For anyone who has this problem, this is the answer. I'm not trying to come at it from that angle. I'm trying to just share my experience as an FE user, some of the things that I've done to improve my communication with FI users that I have found very helpful, that if you're an FE user, you might want to try these out yourself. And I'm also really interested if any FI users in the comments can let me know if you recommend these. And so we can just start a conversation about this in the comment section, because I don't personally think that FI and FE communication is a super easy feat. I don't think it's something that you can just solve with an equation or with a with a cheat sheet or a checklist or anything like that. I don't roll that way. So I'm going to answer to the best of my ability, but I want to hear from FI users as well if you would recommend some of the things I'm saying. Anyway, thank you, Yulina, for that question. Hopefully I'm saying your name correctly. And I thought that this was a great question that would benefit all of my audience. If you have a similar question that you would like me to go into, I do have a service now where you can ask me a consulting question, and I can either answer a question like this to you personally, if you have a clarifying question, or if the question I get a sense would be valued by more people, I might even turn your question into a video. So that information is below. So, okay. In me, as an ENFJ who uses extroverted feeling, the way that my feeling, like, let's just go back to basics. The way that I deal with my feelings is, it is objective judgment. So whenever I have a feeling, or whenever I make decisions, I'm making them based off of objectively what action is going to make me or the people around me the most happy, or what is going to be the most beneficial for me. And so I have more of a long-term approach. No matter what type you are, if you're using extroverted feeling, the way that you're using it is in conjunction with introverted perceiving. So if you're an FJ, you're using SI or NI to assist your FE. It's not just coming from you, it's coming from outside of you and making a judgment based on all of the emotions around you and your emotions that are changing. To me, it sort of feels like a cloud that's just passing over me, like, oh look, there goes anger, okay, that's going to be gone soon. Oh, now there's happiness, or now there's fear, oh, there it goes. That's sort of how it feels like for me. I don't like to attach to any of these emotions. I like to watch how they go, how they pass over me like little clouds, and just observe them. I don't like to hang on to any specific emotion, identify it with it. I don't like to cling on to it. On the other hand, introverted feeling is a identity that is it is a subjective understanding of emotion. It is, what are your preferences? What do you value? And so if you value something, then you're going to cling to certain emotions or certain experiences more than others. And that introverted judging is a lot more discerning with that, in that sense, where it's not just looking at the whole spectrum of things. It's picking which one. If you're an FP, you are going to be focusing a lot more on what do you prefer to feel? What feels the most authentic for you to feel? Whereas an FE user might just sort of observe the whole spectrum and then use that spectrum to make decisions based on, your subjective experience, your subjective NI understanding and interpretation, or your subjective SI physical experience. So for me, whenever I'm making decisions based on my FE, I see all of the possible ways or all the ways I've felt in the past, all the ways this could go, and I make decisions that I think, based on my subjective impression, are going to make me and others around me happier. And as my NI has collected information about FI users, I have changed the way that I communicate to FI users because they need to be validated in ways that I do not need to be validated. That is the number one thing that extroverted feelers need to understand, is that not everybody is just observing their emotions from afar the way that we are. I know that ENFJs and ESFJs seem like extremely emotional beings, and we are to some extent, but also look at how detached TPs are from their emotions. Look at the ways that ENTPs, ESTPs, INTPs, and ISTPs are just sort of analyzing their emotions and making decisions while using that emotional data and emotional information. You have to remember that FJs are doing this as well. We just express the emotions as they come, as a way to sort of get more information out of it. So even though I'm a feeler, my experience with emotions is going to be a lot more detached than an introverted feeler. And so that's something that an extroverted feeler is going to have to think about. If you are in a relationship or trying to communicate with an FI user, you're going to have to be sensitive to them. And I know a lot of FE users might be thinking, but I am sensitive, but I am thinking about how they're feeling. Well, if you're an FE user, you probably are hoping for somebody to call you on your bluff. You're probably wanting someone to untangle the ways that your limiting beliefs are keeping you small and point out, oh, you're being illogical right now. Oh, you're being irrational right now. FETI actually really likes that. FETI likes whenever people are like, you're being stupid right now, or you're just saying that because this. We can be very critical, but it's because that's what we want. It's because we want someone to untangle the ways that our minds are incorrect about our experience. But here's the thing. Introverted feelers are a lot more sensitive, and they need to know that their emotions are valid. And if you're an FE user, you might be thinking, well, yeah, of course they're valid. But you have to show them and tell them that you believe that their emotions are valid. Because if you jump right in with FE and you try and tell them, like, oh, well, it makes no sense that you feel this way because you are really deserving of love or whatever. For example, an FI user friend of mine consistently has feelings for guys that I believe I believe they don't deserve her. I believe she can do better. So if she is telling me that she feels unworthy, perhaps my instinct as an ENFJ is to go in, just jump in and be like, fuck them. You could do better. Come on, girl. Rise up. You don't need him. That's my instinct. But if an FI user feels unworthy at that moment, it doesn't matter whether they should or shouldn't feel it. The TE fact is they feel it. So what are you going to do about it? And that's what FI users get themselves into, that FE is almost like trying to get them out, because FE doesn't like to sink into the hole and just feel the thing. But FI users want to really understand why they feel that way, and process it so that it could be like gone for good. And it is a longer process than FE. FE will just get over it the next day. But then guess what? If you get over it the next day, then you might attract the same exact situation into your life. And maybe you didn't process it correctly before. So, like, for example, for me, perhaps I was in my past, perhaps like I'm rejected by a potential date, potential suitor. as opposed to letting myself isolate myself and cry about it and really feel the unworthiness. I'm going to pump myself up the same way that FE users are pretty much trying to help their friends. And FE users will often think, if you can't take my advice, then I don't even want to talk to you. I don't even want to listen to you mope about it. When really, the thing that FI users need is for you to be okay with their bad mood and really sit with it. You don't have to change it. That's the real thing. And that's why I'm saying that this is not going to just be an easy, simple solution of a video, because in my opinion, conflict between FE and FI has been causing so many wars and conflicts throughout time. This is not something that's simple, and you are not the first person to get into an argument like that if you have experienced that. It has happened to so many people. So many FI users have felt like FE users were trying to change how they feel and were trying to make them feel like they were stupid for feeling what they feel. When FE users are not trying to make you feel stupid, they're trying to help you get out of the situation and make a better decision in order to yield a more emotionally happy result. And FE users, you can't just give advice to the FI user who isn't, in a space where they're ready to receive it. And you also, you can't make somebody want to be happier. An FI user is going to have to reach the depths within themselves where they're going to realize, I need to make better decisions. I need to change. I can't stay here. And then when they go out of their cocoon, they ask for help, that's when they're probably more emotionally ready for FE users' input. But if they did not ask for input, perhaps they're not ready. So if you're an FE user that wants to help, perhaps ask, would you like some input? Or do you need to be left alone? If an FI user is really upset, perhaps they don't know how to communicate their boundaries, because for them, their emotions are inward. So if you're an FE user and you're not sure how to handle the situation, because you can sense the person's emotion, you could sense that they feel not enough. You can sense that they feel sad. But not all people being sad is created equal. And FE likes to pretend as though there is an answer or a solution for each emotion. Like, oh, if you're sad, that means you need a hug. And that is obviously a very broad way to look at it. But in general, FE is right. But in order to really meet an FI user eye to eye, you're going to need to look at them, their boundaries. And if they can't communicate those to you, you're going to have to ask them what they are. And if they still can't really communicate it to you, you really just need to leave them alone. And the best thing that you can do for an FI user is trust that they can handle it. Because when an FI user can feel that other people trust them and that they have hope for them and that they aren't all hovering over them worried, that actually is what helps them find the faith within themselves to want to change or to want to feel better. But I think that a huge miscommunication that can happen is that an FE user will sort of hover over the FI user and feel like, oh, but nobody deserves to feel alone. I wouldn't want to be alone if I was feeling this way. And they will sort of hover around, and the FI user will misinterpret that as you judging them as being stupid or as being incapable. But the reason why that is because FI users, especially if you're an FP, they don't have very valued TI, and chances are they have some sort of wound around the idea that they have a lack of introverted thinking, and so they don't want to be called stupid. They don't want to feel stupid. And so the best thing that you can do is really leave them alone unless they ask for help. And I know that that is the hardest thing ever for an FE user, to know that somebody that you care about is just, in your opinion, perhaps letting themselves waste away or digging themselves into a hole. But sometimes FI users need to feel the floor of rock bottom beneath their feet in order to have the momentum to bounce themselves up. They want to understand that emotion to such a deep level. They aren't afraid of the dark in the same way. And so, yeah, like, if it sounds like I'm really in this video yelling at FE users and getting FI users away, like, free, because I understand how FI can really hurt FE. But I'm also assuming that those of you watching this video, that a lot of FE users have thrown up their hands, flabbergasted, and confused by FI, and you're like, I don't understand what the hell they want from me. And it's because, you know what, they aren't explaining what they want from you, and they also don't know what they want from you. And that is so terrible for FE, because your TI is trying to figure out the answer, you want to be of service and all that. And I guess I just want to tell you, the FE user, that some things just aren't your job. And really, to love someone is to let them go. If you've heard that phrase, I know that that's really cheesy, but I've been thinking about the truthiness of that quote lately, in the sense that if we fear that someone is going to leave us, if we fear the situation is going to leave us, we hold it close because we're trying to control. But to really love is to love unconditionally, is to, like, let go of the conditions and really honor and glorify, you know, the people and things around you, in the sense where this can be really hard for FE, but it's like to really let go of your emotional control and to give the FI user the space that they so desire, yet don't know how to ask for. And again, the reason why I'm kind of just preaching at FE users is because I feel like FE users, it hurts to hear, but in these situations, the FE user likely has more energy into solving this than the FI user does. And so if you have more energy here, then why wouldn't you use it? Why wouldn't you use it to be the bigger person and to give them space? I don't know if any of you here are resonating with this, but for me, I have felt very hurt by FI users in the past, where I feel like they haven't met me halfway in our relationships, and that I've had to do all of the work. But here's the thing. As an FE Dom, I see all the work that needs to be done. And if I see the work that needs to be done emotionally for two people to reach a conclusion and reach harmony, and the other person doesn't see all of that, then why wouldn't I share it? If I have it as a resource, then why shouldn't I share it? And I think that is, we all have this like super independent mentality that we all want to do everything ourselves, but there are 16 personality types, and you, like, yes, any type can do anything, but some things will take more energy than others. And your dominant function, for as much as it can hold you back, can also be a gift to somebody else. And if you can use that as a gift, use that emotional energy to pretty much solve the emotional problem by really learning how to understand what FI users need and adjust your behavior accordingly, then that could be very beneficial for both of you. And I would just say, as a parallel, to think about all the times that you've been grateful for TE users spelling out, the tasks that are required for a project, and how grateful you've been for that. So I don't know if that makes sense. If anyone needs more clarity on that, comment below and I will try and go into that later. I kind of lost my train of thought. I didn't know where I was going with that, but hopefully some of you resonate with that idea. I want to start a conversation about this, and I want to start making more videos about this, so I hope that we can have a conversation below in the comments, or join my Facebook group, Personality Typology for Self-Growth. If you aren't already in it, there's a lot of great conversations like this, and it's free, and that happen every day, so join below. And if you are still unsure of your personality type, my ENFP best friend Crystal and I are now offering personality type services where we sort of look at your answers on a test, or it's pretty much just a worksheet that you fill out. And through our experience, since we have different cognitive functions, we sort of talk amongst ourselves and see the patterns of which cognitive functions you're probably using, and then we'll give you the descriptions for you to sort of figure it out yourself, like with our guidance, because I think that self-study and self-reflection is the best way really to find your type. But if you can be so kind as to reveal yourself to us, we would be more than happy to help you. So thank you so much for watching this video, and thank you. Have a wonderful rest of your day.